Yeah, I respect everybody. And I respect everybody's choices. My choice is to stay true to myself and my religion. That's all I'm gonna say.
How do your religious beliefs differ?
Like I said, that's all I'm gonna comment on that. If you have any hockey questions, I would answer those.
Just
So,
repeat your religion. What is your religion?
If I can
What is your
clarify your
religion?
religion.
Russian Orthodox.
All right, what you just saw there was Ivan Provorov. He's a defenseman for the Philadelphia Flyers, the NHL team, and it was a Pride Night in Philadelphia. It was a night to celebrate the inclusivity and the flag and all that stuff. And he didn't come out in his warm-ups. He didn't want to wear the jersey. He didn't want to rock the hockey stick or whatever with the colors on it. And he said, "I'm not doing it." And he didn't show up. And so, of course, what happens? Reporters start getting on him, and he starts saying, "Hey, man, it's just not me. I'm Russian Orthodox, and I didn't want to participate." Now the internet blew up. Twitter, Twitter in Canada blew up on this. We love our hockey and we love our inclusivity in Canada. If anything, that pride flag has to be like right under the Canadian flag almost every month of the year. So it's like they gotta press you, right? And so what I want to do is not just react to the story. What was offensive to so many is that the team actually stood up for the player and said, "Hey, this is who he is." The coach said, "I kind of respect this guy. He's always, standing up for his beliefs." When people thought the team should separate itself from the player. So most people thought the team should denounce the player's actions, etc. The team stood up for the player. So now people are vexed, and we got this dude here, Sid60. He's one of the sports commentators here in Canada, and he's going off on this situation. So let's see what he has to say because I really want to react to what he's saying.
The theme is not hockey is for everyone, dot, 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 unless you don't believe in gay rights, then do whatever you want. If the National Hockey League is going to do this, if any league is going to do this, do it properly or reevaluate what you're doing. Because there's not a lot of repercussions that I'm seeing from any league. Now, it could change with the NHL. Could change with the NHL. I think you find the Flyers $1 million for this. I'm not kidding. Hockey is for everyone, dot, 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 unless you don't agree with gay rights is not the phrasing of this.
Wow. This man said, "Yo, find the organization $1 million." He's like, "Yo, they stood up for the player. Find them $1 million." Why? Because they don't believe what I believe. They don't stand with what I stand with. Now, is that a Western thing? That is not something we do in our Western culture. We have something in the Western culture. The UK, the US, Canada, all these Western countries have human rights acts. They have freedom of thought, freedom of conscience, freedom of religion. What about that, my guy? That's what the social contract was all about. That's what we actually signed on for when we became members of this society and promoted Western culture. Now you're advocating for groupthink, and if we don't think the way you think, find them. Penalize them $1 million. This is so wild, it's unbelievable. For those who don't know what groupthink is, let's just look at the definition so we can get a better understanding of this. So, what is it? It's the practice of approaching problems or issues as matters that are best dealt with by consensus of a group. So, it seems like democracy, right? We got to get the consensus of the group rather than by individuals acting independently. It's conformity. Look at what it says at the bottom: a tendency within organizations or society to promote or establish the view of the predominant group. So, there we go. The predominant group. Right now, the LGBTQIA2S plus community is the predominant group. Even though they might be the minority in number, they are the majority in voice. And it's kind of strange because we as Christians are probably the majority in number, yet we're the minority in voice because of our silence, because we refuse to engage these issues and engage these topics. And it's like, look at this, man. Now we got, it's crazy. Now we got these guys saying, fine them $1 million if they stand against it. Wow, that's wild. We didn't sign up for groupthink, and I wholeheartedly discourage groupthink. But you know where groupthink comes from? It doesn't come from democratic ideals. I mean, we live in a democracy and we govern according to a democracy, which is great. We get to choose our representatives, our elected leaders, but we don't elect our boss. We don't elect our parents. We don't elect these sorts of things, right? So the whole society itself is not completely um um democratic in that sense. It's not completely democratic in that sense. So we have to understand there's hierarchies in society, but we want to break down the hierarchies. And the reason why this groupthink type of idea can flourish is because of this wheel right here. The wheel of privilege, the wheel of intersectionality. And what you're going to see in this wheel is power is at the center. And all the groupings, these are the groups, how we've grouped society. All these groupings are closer to the power, are the privileged ones. And the ones that are on the far ends out there are the oppressed ones, the not privileged group. And so what you see here is what? White, you're close to power, you're privileged. Christian, oh, you're close to power, you're privileged. So Ivan Provorov meets two. Oh, male, oh, you're close to power. He meets three. He's right in there. Cisgendered? What? You're right in there now. So we can discriminate against Ivan Provorov easily, right? Against his religious rights because he's a Christian and he's close to power. So we're allowed to do it. Now it's accepted. When you look at this thing, it doesn't make any sense. When I even assess my own self, I'm visibly black, man of Asian descent. I'm out there. I'm in the oppressed group. I'm far away from power. Yet I'm Christian. So am I close to power? I'm a man. Am I close to power? I'm salaried. Am I close to power? Educated. Am I close? I don't know. This wheel got me all messed up, got me all confused. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm close to any kind of power. I just feel like myself. I don't get it. But within society, that's how we've constructed things now. And I think it's absolutely wild that that's the idea. Let's continue to get into this, look into this here.
Because what I heard last night was offensive and didn't make any sense. Because, for instance, if that was a military night, okay?
Right.
If anyone in Canada or in the States on a military appreciation night wouldn't wear a jersey pregame, do you have any idea the uproar that would have happened on that? Do you have any idea the backlash? Do you have any idea what happened on social media? Because what I heard...
That's wild. I'm sorry. That's wild. The comparison is wild. So he's comparing celebrating homosexual sex, pride, two men who want to make love with each other, who want to do what they want to do, to military people who go out and lay down their lives for our country, for our values, who stand up for what we believe in at the very cost of their life sometimes. The two are not equivalent, my guy. It's not the same thing, my guy. What are you talking about? It's wild. It's so wild. I don't get how we can make these things. You know, and some people might look at this and say, hey, this guy is a bigot, this guy's based, this guy's a hater, and all this. And it's like, honestly, let me give you my real thoughts about the situation. I think gay people, lesbians, gays, homosexuals should have all the rights in the world. They should have all the same rights that any and every other person in this Western society have. I think it's great that they got the right to marry. However, I wouldn't call it marriage. They got the right to come together and have all the same tax privileges, all the same privileges as my wife and I, for example. That's great. I wouldn't call it marriage because marriage is holy. It's called holy matrimony for a reason. Marriage is sacred. We got to understand these things from a biblical point. Marriage is sanctioned by God. It's from God. God defines marriage. Let's look at how God defined marriage, because you know what? There's no such thing as gay marriage. That might be controversial to say, but in truth, it's an oxymoron. And that's not according to me. That's according to Jesus. Let's look at what it says here. Let's look at what it says here. Whoa. And he answered and said to them, this is Jesus speaking in Matthew 19, verses 4-6. Have you not read that he who made them at the beginning made them male and female? God made humanity male and female, a man and a woman. That's how we are created. And said, for this reason. Now, if you choose not to believe that, that's on you. But that doesn't make it any less true. You cannot believe it all you want. For this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his husband. Nope, that's not what it says. It says, joined to his wife. That's what it says, joined to his wife. And the two shall become one flesh. That's the point of marriage. Two becoming one flesh. A man and a man can't become one flesh. A woman and a woman can't become one flesh. A man and a woman, a male and a female can become one flesh. So then they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, that's the purpose of marriage, joining together, the one fleshness. Let not man separate. And that's what's going on in our world today. Man is separating these things. Man is conflating these things. So I don't even use the term marriage when it comes to gay folks. It's a legal union. That's what it is. They have a legal union. And we have to start to get clear on these things as Christians and speak to these things and not shy away from these things. It's very important. Let's continue to look at this. This video, this next point here, this is the one that honestly I got triggered. I had to pray after I watched this.
Nothing scares me more than any human being who says, I'm not doing this because of my religious beliefs. Because when you looked at people's lives, you normally say that publicly, you throw up at what you saw.
Get out of here, bro. Get out of here, man. I can't even, like, what are you saying right now? So what is he saying? He's saying we shouldn't even have a standard. We shouldn't even have a standard because, hey, you know what? When you look at the personal lives of people who hold to religious beliefs, they're a hot mess. No. The standard is there. Even if we can't live up to the standard, living up to the standard is not even the point. You have no concept of the grace of God. You have no concept of what the gospel is all about. And that's why you can talk like this. You sound like a Pharisee, my guy. He is a Pharisee stumping for gay rights. He's a Pharisee for gay rights. That's what this guy is. And it's like, oh my goodness. I can't believe, and so many people buy this crap. Christians buy this crap. It just causes me to be silent. When he'll say something like this and people say, well, when I look at my life, I'm really messed up, yeah, and I got a lot of issues and problems, so who am I? Who am I to say anything? Who am I to speak to it? Who am I? And then we become weak and silent. That's the main reason why we haven't talked, because we ain't clean ourselves, so we feel like we can't say nothing, but the standard is the standard, and somebody's called to declare it. Somebody has to declare the standard, regardless of what their lives look like. We have to lean into the grace of God and understand God's grace, receive God's grace, and stand up for righteousness. If we listen to these messages, we'd never do anything. There's so many people, when I go out and evangelize and talk to people, they all have that narrative. Oh, when I get up, fix up myself, I'll be a little better. When I get a little better, then I'll come around to Jesus. And it's like, nah, you'll never ever get better, bro. You're never ever going to change, bro. You got to come to Jesus first. You got to receive the grace of God first and allow him to do the work. So if you listen to Sid Sincere and you listen to what he's preaching, then you're never ever going to be anything that God desires for you to be.
Because what I heard last night was offensive and didn't make any sense. Because if nothing scares me more than any human being who says, I'm not doing this because of my religious beliefs. Because when you looked at people's lives, you normally say that publicly, you'd throw up at what you saw. You would throw up at what you saw. And I've seen that a million times in a lot of different ways. So don't give me that. With respect. Don't give me that, because no one's perfect. All right? Don't feed me the religious beliefs line.
Of course, no one's perfect, bro. That's the whole point of the gospel. No one is perfect outside of Jesus Christ. That's why we need him. That's why we have to come to him, because he's the one who shed his blood for us. He's the one who made the way for us to even attempt to attain unto perfection. It's only because of him. This guy.
And all of a sudden, the NHL's going to back off this. The National Hockey League today needs to find that organization $1 million and reevaluate how they support gay rights.
See? Man's a Pharisee for gay rights. He's stumping for gay rights, man. That's who Sid Sincero is. I thought you should know that. Shout out to Ivan Provorov. I heard his jersey sold out in the online stores. People are supporting them as they should. Man, if you can go ahead and support this channel, if you want to see this truth continue to go out, like the video, subscribe to the channel. And you know what? Join the Patreon so I can quit one of my 2 jobs and really focus in on this the way I would like to. So God bless you. The link is in the bio, man. And